Just doing another episode of Ask Jason. Coming closer to the end of 2016, and figured it'd be time to do another segment with my clients. And what I've been finding that this year has been a closing year, so there's been a lot of energy that's been shutting down, a lot of stuff that's been collapsing, a lot of clients that are going through a lot of things with relationships, stuff to do with jobs, things that are, I guess, basically what I've been seeing is stuff that's in untruth is starting to come to the surface and making you deal with it. So even if you were to look at numerology, even this year itself, the numerology is a 9, so it's a close, it's the end of the cycle. So the next cycle, 2017, is more of an open year, new beginnings. They're also showing a lot of stuff to do with that Mercury retrograde, so if you follow astrology and so on, you may have had a very rough week and so on. So if you're seeing some things within your experience that are starting to shake, rattle, and roll, start to just move through some of that stuff, and meditation would be great. Starting to do some things out in nature, going out in nature, going for walks, just being at peace, or trying to, I guess, be more of a proactive energy instead of a reactive energy. Now, I've had a lot of students or clients, people that have been asking me questions about, well, what does this all mean? What is it? Why are we doing this? Why is this taking place? And there's 3 questions you really got to ask yourself. And I've talked about these in other episodes. And a lot of times we can't really see a lot of things because we got our head down like this. And you know, a lot of things in our environment are purposely doing that. We've got everybody has a cell phone on them now. You're walking by a bus stop, everybody's like this. Nobody's really interacting with each other, so our energy is being, I guess, diverted or distracted. So when you start to ask those questions, those 3 questions, which is one is, who are you? Like, physically, we have this physical body, but the real you, what is the aspect, the other aspect of you that's trying to get your attention? So you're a multidimensional being, so there's other areas of you that are around you that are interacting with you, and they're shutting down certain areas. And the second question is where are you? What is this place? What are we doing here? And then the third question is how do you get out? So you came in into the dimension. We all know that there's some way that you entered, and that could be the birth process, right? And then we're also going to exit, so that's the death process. Now, the real you doesn't really die, the vehicle does. So, with my work doing the mediumship stuff, where I'm connecting to people on the other side and so on, a lot of people ask me those questions. What are they doing on the other side? What's taking place? What does that place look like? Depending on your program, how you were born, and what you grew up with your religious situation and so on. We have a lot of programs that are running based on the religious components. So, some people may say that it's heaven, or they're in hell, depending on how good deeds, bad deeds, or what they did, or they're in purgatory, or they're in this neutral space. But I don't really adhere to a lot of those programs. I actually grew up as a Catholic. My mom is a Pentecostal Christian pastor, and my aunt's a Jehovah's Witness. Now, I don't have any of those religious belief systems. I don't even have a belief system. I have more of a concept, so I've done a lot of investigation on this. I'm not going to regurgitate a lot of this information, but you can find out about a lot of this stuff online. But what you really got to understand something here is that the body-mind meat suit, or the container that you're in, is actually being hijacked. So some of the stuff that I'm going to present today, what you're going to see here is that I'm not trying to push a lot of fear or anything like that, but I'm just basically trying to present a concept. So I want you to be very skeptical about this. A lot of this stuff I have researched. There's a lot of stuff online that you can gravitate towards, or go and do your own stuff. But at the end of the day, this is just a concept of a truth that I've come across that resonates more with me. And being, I guess, the sensitive person that I am, and I've always gone through scenarios where I say, okay, well, some of the stuff I found out back in 2005 really doesn't resonate with me now in 2016, 2017. So it's always a growing process, and some of the stuff that I'm going to say to you today may resonate with you. It may be something that you're trying to understand, and I hope at the end of this episode that you'll start to understand some of this stuff, because we're all on different levels of awakening. We're all on different levels of, growth. So The soul is here in order to go into the next level or the next step. And what is that step? What is it? What is that process? And when you start to look at esoteric teachings, when you start to look at different religious texts that are on the planet, the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, all these different, scriptures or texts, they're showing or pointing to certain scenarios where you need to start to clear the vehicle or clear the energetic components that are holding you. A lot of this, if you adhere to the karmic wheel or the karmic energies, I do feel that they have some kind of role, or they're playing some kind of scenario within our growth process. Especially within dynamics and scenarios within relationships. People come into your life for certain reasons and then they leave for certain reasons. There's also scenarios where you're born into certain scenarios to learn certain lessons and so on. So you may want to do a little bit of an exercise with your own life and what's going on in your experience. And one of the things that I like to do with my students is basically start to categorize, or to even give yourself a word to describe the person that is closest to you. It could be your father, and if you had to categorize or describe him in a certain way, if he was very, authoritative, strong, strength, and then you get into mom, and she's more loving and more supportive, or more giving and more caring, and then you get into like maybe a sibling scenario with a brother where he's more taking or pulling from you, and then if there's a scenario with a sister where she's more in a capacity of argumentative and that type of thing. And you're starting to see patterns of people that are around you that are very close to you, that is part of that soul group or that soul contract to show you certain things. They're basically mirroring to you things that you need to grow or to move forward with, and to be able to go up the ladder. And they talk about this ladder basically as the Jacob's ladder, or getting into the divinity, or into your divine purpose, or your divine plan. So when we enter into the dimension, I can tell you this, that there are positive and negative frequencies here. We can label them angels, you can label them demons or entities and so on. Now, these frequencies are very real, and some of them you can't see if you're sensitive, and some of them you can't see, but you can feel them, or you can actually have some interactions with them based on thought patterns. And what they're looking for is basically mind share. Now, there's a lot of stuff on the internet with these lower frequencies. There's been names attached to them. Some of them are iconic energies. The angelic energy, if you gravitate to some of that stuff, you get into the archangels, the seraphim, those stream of frequencies. They do have a counterpart to them. So I don't want you to get off course and think, well, an angel is the highest being and so on, and there's all love and light and so on. No, but Archangel Michael, if you wanted to take him as an example, he does have a counterpart to him, which is the balance part, because we are in duality. So we have this split stream that is actually divided. So the counterpart to Archangel Michael would be the Luciferian energy, or the Lucifer energy, and then so on, and then you can keep going down the stream and start to look at, if you gravitate towards these certain beings or these certain energies, they will help and assist you, but a lot of times, a lot of these frequencies are playing with you or manipulating you, and you need to understand who is on the game board. So that's when I ask these questions to people, is that you got to really understand who you are, and that means that you are this multidimensional being. Now, me saying that, you really have to experience it, so you have to go through a process of internal investigation that's going inward. Meditation is great for that. And a lot of times when you're sitting in meditation, it's not to sit there for 3 hours. You can do it for 2 minutes, and you go inward, and then when you wake up or when you come out of that meditation, you can actually ask those questions. What do I need to see today about that certain experience or that certain scenario? Stuff to do with a relationship, or it has to do with coworkers or work and so on. Why is this being shown to me? Why is this mirroring to me? Because at the end of the day, your higher self, or God, or source, or if you're looking at your guardian angels or the energies that are around you, they cannot physically move you. So with all the collapsing that's been going on since 2016 and then moving into 2017, these energies are just here to help you. So when you start to tap into them, or to start to, feel them and start to engage with them, they want your attention. So these lower frequencies love attention, and what they feed off of is all this lower chaos or this lower experience. So they want you to be engaged or be in a reactive state. So they're always trying to push your buttons. So depending on the buttons that are open, which basically are open wounds, which are from the past. Now the past could be in this lifetime. The past could be in a past lifetime. So we've had multiple lifetimes. We've been on this game for multiple lifetimes over and over and over again. And when you start to wake up to that, you start to realize that you're actually stuck. And you're stuck in a space that these lower frequencies are controlling the energy that's around you. And they don't want you to get out. So they're playing a very elaborate game. And to me, I've talked about this before in other episodes, but it's basically soul wars. So they're looking for basically mind share. So they cannot physically touch you or move you. When you get into the paranormal stuff and you get into these poltergeists, yeah, there is some paranormal activity, but not all of them are like that. So depending on how sensitive you are to the environment, there are physical form beings. So you are a physical form being, and you are a non-physical energy. So this non-physical energy is you. It's on a higher aspect, but it also is interacting with you on this part of the stream or the hierarchy of how the board is set up. Now, if you wanted to take maybe a level of how this starts to look like, I'm just got to get another pen here. The frequency basically is streaming. So if you wanted to say that there's a stream that's coming down into your body, mind, meat suit, and we've got the body here, okay, and then we've all heard about the different chakra points. So we've got these different energy centers, okay. So these energy centers actually roll all the way up through the stream. So let's just say this is the goal or the ultimate space that you want to be at, and within these different layers of the ladder, you're going to meet or encounter, depending on how much meditation you do, you're going to either be stuck at a certain point, or you won't be able to flow, because there's also help and assistance basically from the earth, and there's also help and assistance coming down from the heavens. So this frequency is always flowing, so it's always moving. You're always in contact 24/7. The only thing that the problem is that you think you're not. So everybody can do this. Everybody's intuitive. Everybody has these abilities. The problem is that you don't understand how you're being turned off or shut down. The process of the cradle to grave energy, or that scenario, that concept, is a very real concept. That control system is holding your frequency in order for it to stay at the lower base, which is the first chakra. So what they want you to do is to stay in this fight or flight or survival energy. So that's why about 90% of the planet is running around just trying to survive. So you're just getting up, going to work, getting up, going to work, getting up, going to work, and everything in between is trying to gravitate or to grav towards or pull towards, which is happiness. Now, we have this happiness energy, or we have the opposite of that. So we've got happy running on one side, and then we've got sad on the other side, and then we have every different component or layer or basically stream of something that is lesser than that. So when you're looking at filling a void, a lot of times we're trying to pull into the happiness stuff. That's why there's a lot of addictions on the planet. There's a lot of things that are people gravitating towards: drugs, sex, alcohol, work. Work is an addiction. Some people that is also a distraction. So when you're looking at imbalance, right? So balancing these two streams, okay, or these two energies, is going to help and assist you, especially when you're getting things that are collapsing. In order for you to see, okay, instead of being like this, you're now going to be more like this, to be able to look at the horizon. That's why even a military, strategy, they always want to take the high road. They always want to be on the high point so they can see down, see what's coming, right? So when you're doing this in your everyday life, everybody's walking around. So the slave energy is always walking around like this. So even if you watch movies, you see slaves that will actually walk like this. Now, the modern day slave is someone that is actually tied up or pulled into, like, it's not the ones with the shackles and so on. It's actually someone that is tied into a lot of debt. That's another component. The money system is actually enslaving a lot of energy. And when you really look at money as a whole, money to me is just energy. But money there's a lot of high level magic being perpetuated within the money system. You can even look at the dollar bills. There's sigils all over that thing. So if you know what sigils are, so when you're looking at frequency, you're interacting with frequency all the time. You got to start to catch this energy in the act. Now, I'm not saying that you have to gravitate towards happy or happiness will show up. Now, you're not here on the plane or on the domain or on the dimension to actually be happy. And I say this to a lot of people, and they actually look at me like I'm nuts. Now, the thing is that happiness will show up. It'll show up in little increments, but the problem is that if you keep chasing happy, you're going to start to pull into more of this. So you have to start to find that balance or that equilibrium where you can see where you're off balance. Now, when you're looking at anything to do with work, jobs, relationships, every component can actually have a lot of this happiness piece to it, but I can tell you this, when you really do the investigation or you go really deep into your experience, you're going to see that the sadness part of it, or the unhappiness, or the spaces that are distorted, or you're just not feeling right about it, is because there's something's off. And that's what the emotional component is. And that's what really is, if you take that word emotion, right? So it's energy, which is an energy in motion. So emotion is the energy trying to move. Okay, so the energy is trying to move through certain areas that are stuck. So I have a lot of clients that sit in front of me, and I can feel it, and I can say, you're stuck. And they go, yeah, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just in this neutral space. So in order for you to flow through life or flow within your experience, you have to start to see and start to look at the emotion. The emotional component to your life is what you need to address. So when you start to feel things, start to pull into that emotion. Now, I do a lot of hands-on healing sessions in my clinic and so on. And I've had experiences with clients where they actually go through a deep sobbing, deep crying, deep level of release. And because they feel safe and confident, and that's where they feel that they can actually do that type of stuff. Because even in the environment, even at work, you can't sit at your desk because you start crying and bawling. But you need to have a space that you feel comfortable in to release this energy. And I always suggest people to do it in nature. Just release it, give it back to the planet. Just go up to a tree and just start holding the tree and allow that tree to absorb anything that the emotional component within your body needs to have some kind of an adjustment or release. Now, I've had people go from extreme heavy, deep crying into, in the same session, going from that and flipping into laughing their head off. So that's the emotional component that's just moving like a wave. And when you're going through some of these things, where these collapses, or where the rug's getting pulled up from underneath you, or where you're going through a release of a relationship or something to do with work, you may have some scenarios, even from the past, based on a trauma, where that energy is stuck. Now, when that energy gets stuck, let's just say that this is part of it, and it's mostly in the first chakra and so on. That's why a lot of people have bigger gut areas, because it's starting to manifest out in the physical form, because they're holding a lot of this frequency in the tummy, a lot of the solar plexus, the gut. That's why everybody's putting a lot of stuff into their body, mind, meat suit, based on an emotional, this is even a component of emotional eating. So start to see where you have a lot of things, a lot of stuff. So even in your house, if you've ever seen that TV show Hoarders, where there's a lot of things in the house, that's because they're hoarding or they're holding the energy. They can't release it, right? So that's just expressing itself on the outer, so it's a mirror to them. So when you're starting to see where you need to release, now these traumas or anything in the past, could be something, could be emotional, could be physical. These traumas will get stuck, and they'll just basically create a tear or a rip within your aura. So this tear is going to actually put in some kind of an opening. So this opening basically is energy that's leaking. So what will happen is that these lower guys, so these negative components, okay, and then you've got the positive guys on this side, these negative components love it. So they really want to be here. They really want you to stay in that space. They don't want you starting to ascend or to go up the ladder or to start to wake up. So they don't want you to start to see them. They don't even want you to know that they're there. They're very sneaky. They actually want, they do a lot of things in the shadows, the dark. That's why they're the lower aspect. Now, at the end of the day, these are aspects that are part of us. So I don't want you to place them in these big bad categories of where they have control over you, because they're just very, I basically call them like mosquitoes. They're very small, tiny little basically nuisances. So what they'll try and do is that they'll start to create thought forms or thought patterns, and it's a lot of questioning your life, questioning your relationship, questioning your work, questioning why are you here. It's all these questions and second guessing. So this is basically an imbalance. So when you start to see things, and you actually start to tap into the higher aspect of you, which is, remember I was talking about the military standpoint, you're starting to see more above you, and that's why a lot of people are getting deja vus, a lot of people will get actual recall, a lot of things happening in their dreams so they can see. So if you can't see your dreams, there's a reason for it. There's a reason why you're being shadowed, you're being overshadowed. Now, when I do some of these releasement sessions, so there's different techniques that you can use to get rid of these guys. You can actually clear them. You can cut off their source. You can cut off the entry point. You can heal this part of you. I always tell people to do their own work, because the more that you do on yourself, the more, I guess, energies around it in order for it to heal. Now, when you're going to a facilitator such as myself or anybody else, we're just basically a pointer, and we're just helping and assisting in that healing process. But at the end of the day, you have to do the work. And I can tell you this, I've been doing this for a long time, and nobody wants to do the work. We have become a very lazy, it's basically society. We've become very lazy. We're basically turning into drones where we want to sit, and it's this push button type of scenario. Do it for me, right? Change the channel. I remember back in the day, I used to have to get up and change the channel. I used to have to turn the knob. Now, nowadays, it's just like you can even do it from your cell phone, where you're actually just touch a button, bang, I get it. Now, that actual program is a very subdued program. So there's no real action taking place. It's just basically sitting there, watching TV, drinking beer, doing something just to numb the energy out so that you do not have to do the work, because at the end of the day, you are going to exit. So you came in, it's the cradle to grave type of scenario, so you're born, you're going to be here for a certain amount of time, and then you're going to exit. Now you have to get your stuff done within that time frame. Now, if you're at the halfway point, if you're in your 40s and so on, you still got another 30, 40 years to actually get this stuff moving and rolling, and I can tell you this, if you don't do it now, you're going to do it next time. And the problem is that all the information and all the stuff that you've got more clarity on, it's going to be mind wiped. That's why nobody can remember their past lives. Some of them can, based on the sensitivity levels that they are. They're doing past life regressions and so on. But you need to start to do this work now, and you got to start to clear this vehicle. Now, that's why I talk about in a lot of my sessions, or I help people and assist people with diet, what you're putting into your body. So you want to have more of an alkaline diet and then less acidic. So get away from the sugars, the pastas, the meats, the starches, all that stuff is trying to hold your frequency at this base. So what they've done is they want you in this hole. So if you really want to understand where hell is, so when you're talking about heaven and hell, that's why they talk about the temple. The temple is where the all-knowing is. That's why the pineal gland is in the temple, right? You also have the temple, and then you have the heat, which is around the base, which is the hell, or the lower part of the body, right? That's why it's even the first chakra, it's red, right? So the red component is also red for this guy, right? So the lower component is always, he's a red devil walking around, right? So you've got that red energy. So these are just concepts. So when I don't want to put too much emphasis on this big bad horn type of figure, but I want to tell you something here, is that there are interdimensional energies that are playing with you, and they are messing with a lot of people. And I can tell you this: 2016 was a closing year, a collapsing year. 2017 is going to be more of an open and expansive year. But you have to start to do the work. So the more work that you do, the more you're going to flow, and the more you're going to start to see your reality. You're going to be more able to stand at that top of that ridge and to see what's coming. Because I can tell you this place is not set up for you to just be laxy-daisy and to just sit there and watch TV and be able to be entertained, because that's what this place is set up. It's all about wants, needs, and desires. And when you start to identify all your wants, needs, and desires, and the things that you're addicted to, could be sex, drugs, alcohol, work, whatever it is, those components is what these guys are placing in front of you like carrots. So they're placing these carrots in front of you to see if they can draw you out, or to draw you off that vantage point, to bring you back down into this space. They need you here in order for them to feed or pull from you. So the more that you identify that, you can do that with meditation, you can do that with different types of techniques and clearing sessions and so on. So basically, just to recap here, 2017 seems to be more of an open and expansive year. I hope everybody else starts to feel that. Take a look at my website. There's a lot of things on there with different sessions that I offer and so on. I hope I can help and assist you. I hope this episode was able to shed some clarity on the past year, on how that unfolded, and love your responses. Send me some emails and send me a text. This is the end of this episode. Thanks.